All right, so good evening, everyone. I am going to do a pretty chatty video tonight because I finally, after a week's time, had a few moments to just sit down, journal, kind of gather my thoughts, let things go a bit. It's been a pretty crazy week, and yeah, it seems like I've made a couple of videos. I've been quite chatty in all of them, and it seems like something's sticking, so it's therapeutic for me, and I hope this is enjoyable for at least some of you. So today I plan to update the Stationery Fest week in my TN vertical, and here I'm just sort of going through a few bits and bobs that I've collected. I did collect quite a lot of ephemera from Stationery Fest, and I haven't really used much of it, so this is sort of where I'm trying to, use some of my stuff, and it can get a little stressful just having so many different things to update over time. I have my Hobonichi daily, I have my just general, the Yoseka journal that houses everything for now. I also have my plotters, but that's really for planning. And so I've been really enjoying actually using this TN vertical in a way that's kind of loose, very more artistic, I guess, a little bit more, I would say, something that I can do to use some of my stationery, and so it's half memory keeping, half, really just a little scrapbooking area. And so here you see I'm kind of trying to figure out a way to stick the photo booth photo that Victoria and I took at Stationery Fest, and I think every week, like the thing I like about this is I'm really trying to capture the vibe of a week, and so just kind of digging through what stickers I have, what stamps I can use, what ephemera I have, what things I can paste into it. And I usually start there before kind of moving into just finally then writing in it. But that's going to come a little later on in this video. So I spent about 20 minutes doing this. And again, I haven't really fast forwarded anything. These are some hydrangeas that I dried from my dear mother-in-law's hydrangea bush. She has a lot, and they're beautiful, and I'm very lucky that she let me kind of snip a few of these, and I kind of dried them out just in a few days, just putting them in between my traveler's notebook, sketchbook, and yeah, they kind of look pretty beautiful. So this is kind of sort of where I start usually, just kind of pasting down some elements of, the week. And I guess one of the things that I find pretty fun, and I think it only is because I have so many stickers now, is just kind of going through my sticker release paper and trying to find some stickers for the week. And obviously, since it was Stationery Fest, I tried my best and found this super cute fountain pen and ink sticker. I think this is a flake sticker that I got once upon a time. I hope this is interesting for you guys. This, in hindsight, maybe a super boring video, but Ooh, this sticker I do love. It was super, super rainy that week in New York, and I definitely wanted to find a way to represent that. And this, I think it's one of the Swatelier stickers, with someone kind of in, the rain holding an umbrella, I think really captures some of the moments of the week. It was unfortunate that it was so rainy, especially as so many people came down to Stationery Fest to visit New York. New York was not on its best behavior that week. But anyway, so it's really funny, I think, even just in this traveler's notebook alone, I put so many things inside. So inside that plastic folder, I have PET tapes, I have cardstock, I have so many memos, and so I think there is some sort of weird stress when it comes to like finding the perfect thing to stick into a week. But it is also really nice when you finally find that thing, or this is just something that you've been collecting or storing for so long, and all of a sudden, wow, there's a perfect use for this. So that's sort of, I think, where this one came in. It's a PET tape, I think, sample that I got from somewhere that's just a traveler's passport size. No, I don't even know if it's a traveler's, but it really does look like one. So kind of using this to kind of represent the many elements of the weekend. As you see, as the sort of decoration goes on, it gets a little bit more erratic, but yeah, I think kind of layering different elements is just something that is, I don't know, a little sort of a creative, it's been a long day. Actually, scratch that, it's been a super long week. And maybe I'll go on a side tangent, but last week I traveled, I was sleeping, I slept in, I think, 6 different beds in 14 days, which honestly is just too much. I would not recommend it to everyone, or anyone, sorry, for that matter. I guess I'm putting the traveler in this traveler's notebook. But I, kind of fell off the wagon. It was a very exhausting, very taxing, very emotional week for me. I was sorting out a lot of visa issues, but at the same time, it was also a really happy week in that my mom was here. She came all the way from Hong Kong to meet me in Canada. And yes, I was in Canada. And, now I'm not, but I was. And so it was a very bittersweet, exhausting week. And I'm very glad that I'm through it at this point. And so, yeah, tangent aside, very long week, very glad I get a few slow moments tonight to kind of slow down and update this TN from 2 weeks ago, actually. So I still haven't even updated, I guess, last week. Today's Monday. But yeah, so here I'm kind of just utilizing a bunch of different stamps. I guess this one is the small little TN stamp that I got in, I think, in Osaka this past year. Yeah, stamps are something that I feel like, I don't know, brings me back to a certain feeling of my childhood that I can't believe sort of I'm back to as, someone in my 30s. But here I am, stamping away and collecting stamps, if you will. And yeah, so this is a little cutout. I forgot what these were called, but very kind of intricate die cuts, and I think they're like hand cut ephemera that someone I was sitting next to at Ame's workshop last week gave me. Was it last week? No, wait. Wow, Stationery Fest was 2 weeks ago. That's crazy. So yeah, this is the Muji photo booth photo that I took with Victoria back at Stationery Fest. And yeah, I thought it was just kind of cute to commemorate the week. And again, sometimes I have no plan. Actually, not sometimes. Most of the time, I have no plan for what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm pulling out a little kind of coffee cat in a coffee cup sticker from May Sticker. May works at Yoseka, and I got one of her sticker sheets at the Osaka Stationery Fest. So yeah, totally random. I guess the beginning of this week was also pretty crazy. I mean, this was part of the last 14 days, but just on that Monday, we woke up super early to travel from North Carolina to New York after kind of driving all the way from Florida to North Carolina. It's a 10-hour drive. This is when I remembered that I had all these stamps, but I also took a stamp carving workshop with Eric's Small Things. So I was like, I should probably take that out and stamp my journal to commemorate that. So here, kind of just deciding to put it sideways. And I think you'll see me kind of struggle with this a lot, kind of with where to place things, how to place things, should this go here? I think there's actually one of the shots later on where I peel off a sticker, one of Job's sticker, and I'm like, wait a second, I have no space for this, so I actually put it back in my sticker release book. This was a super cute wax seal. I think I mentioned it in my last video that the Enchanted Desk brought and gifted to all the other participants at the Eric Small Things workshop. And yeah, it was I'm just reminded how generous the stationery community is. And, I think as someone who kind of dabbles in it, I feel like I'm not as, I wouldn't say committed, but I would say I definitely think that there's more I could do. If I were to go to Stationery Fest again, I definitely would want to sort of share more of my stationery with other people. I mean, the problem is I don't have much of my stationery here with me. A lot of it is back in Hong Kong, and so that's sort of comes with the territory of traveling. But this is sort of my portable package, and as you can see, a lot of it is inside my sticker release paper booklet, and I love flipping through this thing. It is so random, but sometimes you just find that perfect sticker. Sometimes you don't, and you're like, I have all of this stuff. Oh, this is the moment I realized I'm like, I could definitely use this sticker from my friend Bao Bei, who is an incredible artist. This is a sticker pack that she made, a travel sticker pack that was gifted by my BFF Linda, and so I think I'm here going to just again using thematic stickers sometimes to represent the day, the hour, the week. And oh my gosh, I've been talking for so long. I think there's like 10 more minutes of this video. Can I keep this up? I feel like maybe I'm going to just I'm just gonna let it sit for a bit. I'm not gonna talk. See how it goes. Alright, I think this is a funny moment to return to. I just mentioned this, but I wanted to use this really cute lemon sticker from Job, and then as much as I tried to find space for it on this week's spread, I couldn't. So as you see me struggling, and you really will see me struggling, I decided not to waste this lemon. I'm not making lemonade out of lemons. So I put it back in my sticker release paper, which is, again, why I love the sticker release paper, because it means you can change your mind. And I think at this point, I decided that my spread is somewhat ready for annotation. I think. Oh my gosh, I really hope so. Oh, no. She decides that there must be. Oh, I think I noticed that that on that little frame, it was jutting out a bit, so I decided that it needed a little bit of tape. So that's what I'm doing here. And again, I feel like, you know, if you're watching this and you are a stationary person, you know this feeling of just, there's just so many things you can use, and it almost seems endless, the amount of tools, the amount of stuff that we have. So I think in this final scene, I'm sort of just doing the final touches of what usually happens in these videos, which is, you know, kind of filling in the gaps, filling in the details. And I love this pen, by the way. This is an extra fine platinum. I got it at in Osaka at the Nakasawa store, and honestly, on a whim, I just saw it. It's one of the demonstrator pens. It's 14K, but it's rose gold, and it's one of those things where, I was in Japan and the yen was weak, but it's one of those pens that sometimes I think is definitely too thin, and I'll set it aside for a bit and then kind of go back to my mediums or my TWSBI fines, which I find actually pretty thick. But then I'll return to the extra fine on this platinum, and it is just so, it's like it is really scratchy, but it also there's this really nice feedback feeling to it, and I love the sound. But again, it's not something that, that's consistent. It's, I'll put it down, I'll come back to it, I'll put it down, I'll come back to it, and I gotta say, I was really enjoying writing with this pen tonight. And kind of in between these moments, I will decide, there's probably some space for an extra sticker here and there. I'll remember something that happened, and it, there's something about the way there's this like timeline format on this TN vertical that really does help jog the memory, especially as you start filling things in. It's kind of like a crossword puzzle where, you fill in this detail and all of a sudden you just remember all the surrounding details that happen. And there was a lot that happened that week. There was Sean left to Hong Kong with Jane and Ben, and we had dinner at Karjma. We got into New York. We saw our friend Paul. There was just so much going on that week. There was Stationery Fest. I stayed over at like 5 different places. I slept in 4 different beds just this week alone. And that wasn't even the busiest week of my last 2 weeks. So I think, there's just a lot to remember. And I think that sort of that's the aspect of journaling that I really love and have sort of held on to these past 2 years, is the idea that so much happens every day in our daily lives, and it's super easy to forget. And I think, part of what this is, obviously the tools are fun. It's an expensive hobby, don't get me wrong, but it's fun. It's the community is incredibly kind, and giving and sharing. But I think at the same time, there is just so much value to remembering and doing it in a way that just feels like you put a little bit of effort into it. I think, don't get me wrong, I think kind of going through your phone album, all the photos that you've taken on your phone is also one way to do it. And there's, definitely, as I look through my phone, there's a lot to remember. But I think there's also these small moments that you don't get to capture when that happens. And so, I think that's sort of where journaling kind of comes in. And there's so many different shapes and sizes to this. I mean, I'm not even showing this too much in this video, but I think I did show it a little bit in the beginning, is my Hobonichi, which I think I'm about almost 2.5 years or 2 years strong now at this point, which, that's a whole other video. But I am considering, I've been the A6 for 2 years now, and I am considering going to the A5 cousin. But again, that's a longer story and not for right now. But yeah, there's just really so many ways that you can remember and, memory keep, as they say. And this is, I think, a fun alternate way to do this, because in my Hobonichi, I'm very, today I just very sort of factual recount my day. Sometimes I'll put in how I felt, but usually it's very this is what we did, this is where we went, this is who I hung out with. It's very, and I use a lot of photos to capture, and I love my Hobonichi. And in fact, there's some of me that prefers it as well, because it's a very kind of objective and honestly a very fun way, as you flip through your Hobonichi, way to just remember the year and remember the month. But there is something extremely, oh, there goes my head, just extremely creative to this sort of spread. It's just a way to capture a feeling, I think, kind of a moment in time. And yeah, I'm enjoying the crossword analogy I just made. It does feel like, as you're kind of filling this in, you're kind of filling in the different spots. And I think I'm doing this here where all of a sudden I'm remembering what happened in between the days, which is nice. Very, very, a very eventful week, I would say. Yeah, this is, I guess, something I've been doing now for, I guess, the past year, and you won't see a lot of this since this was, I think, a July start Tea and Vertical, so I archived my old one and I left that one in Hong Kong. But I tried to do that throughout the year this year, and yeah, I can't wait to kind of reflect on all of that when the year end comes. This is when I realized this photo is a little loosey-goosey, but it also signals that this video is coming to an end. So if you have stayed here for the full 27 minutes, I cannot appreciate you enough. And, you know, thank you for listening to me go on and on. You guys really are the best.